YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy Booba and welcome back to another video on the channel. Hope you guys are having an incredible day. As you guys know, the release of FC 25 is just around the corner. So before we get the web app, before we get the launch of the entire game, I thought what better way to go ahead and kick off the videos this year than by looking at the FC 25 database. Now in today's video, we're going to go ahead and look at the best starter players from the Premier League that you guys can go ahead and pick up at the start of FC 25. I don't know about you guys, but I love playing with gold players at the start of each year, man. I think that is really fun. I think that is very competitive and very balanced. If you guys do enjoy these kinds of videos and you want to see more of them on the channel, definitely let me know by leaving a like, and then also consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. It would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, man, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. We're going to start things off by looking at 5 center backs that are going to be incredible at the start of FC 25. And kicking off the list, man, we do have Manuel Akanji. Now as you guys can see, man, Akanji 84 rated. I think at the start of FC 25 he's going to be an incredible center back, and hopefully he's not too expensive either. Now something that's really important for FC 25 is the fact that now we do have player roles, and if we jump on over to FootGG, we can see that Manuel Akanji does have the center back stopper plus, and then he does also have the ball playing defender plus. So instead of our usual work rates, you know, like medium, high, low, this is what's replaced it, and I think that is going to be a really good addition to the game. And really quickly, man, if you guys do want to see how these different roles work, you can always go on over to Footbin, and on Footbin, man, we have every player role and then also what's going to be very significant with it. So with Manuel Akanji, he can be a stopper. So if we go ahead and click on that, we can see basically the description of it and how he's going to play in game. So as you guys can see, a stopper is a ball winning center back who will step forward from the defensive line to make tackles, intercept passes, and then also lead the press. And then you can also see with a balanced focus, the stopper will intercept passes and pressure attackers receiving the ball. It's really good for defending and for pressure. The aggressiveness is okay. It's kind of like neutral. So if you guys do want to learn more about the different player roles, you can go on over to Footbin, man, eafc 25 player roles, and he does have every single list with the description. But if we go on back over to Manuel Akanji, man, I think at the start of FC 25, it's really important for your center back to have really good pace, defending, and physicality. And with Akanji, he does have 78 pace, 76 acceleration, and 80 sprint speed. Not too bad. Now, in terms of dribbling, as you guys know, the two most important stats are his reactions and composure, and he does have 86 and 83, which is actually really good. The defending for the start of the game is going to be incredible. 85 defending and then also 82 physical, 86 strength, and 82 aggression. Should be very strong both on and off the ball. Now if you guys can remember, he can also be used as a ball playing defender, so he can be a ball playing center back, so that means that his passing and dribbling is going to be really important. And with his stats, I mean, he does have 83 short pass and 80 long pass. I mean, the dribbling is okay for the most part. Now in terms of playstyles, on Footbin it does say that he doesn't have any playstyles. Now that could be just like a problem or maybe like a bug, but if he doesn't have any playstyles, that is a bit of a letdown for the card. But with his pace, defending, and physicality for the start of the game, man, I think that he is going to be a very good center back for a pretty decent price. Next up on the list, boys, we do have another Manchester City defender, and it's none other than Ake. Now throughout the entirety of FC 24, I do think that Ake was actually a pretty decent player, man. At the start of the game, a lot of people were using his regular rare gold card. He did have his team in the tournament SBC, and I feel like a lot of people did complete that SBC. And now at the start of FC 25, man, another really good option for the center back position. Now looking at his in-game stats in a bit more detail, we can see that the pace, defending, and physicality, just like Akanji, is quite solid. The defensive subcategories for the most part, man, are really balanced. The lowest one that he does have is 82 for his heading accuracy. In terms of dribbling, like I said, really important for him to have really high reactions and composure. 84 and 79 isn't the end of the world. And then with his 76 pace, I think that he can make a really solid center back, especially if you go ahead and give him like the shadow or anchor chem style. And again, in terms of play styles, just like Manuel Akanji, he doesn't have any playstyles, at least on Footbin. Again, it might just be a glitch, but even on FootGG, he does not have any playstyles. And if that's the case, man, that is a bit of a letdown for the card. But as you guys can see, he does have an extra player role compared to Akanji. He does have the defender plus, stopper plus, and then also a ball playing defender plus. So that's going to be really important. And at the start of FC 25, I think that is going to be really important to go ahead and test out the players in all these different roles, see what works really well, what really doesn't. And with this stats, man, there is a bit of versatility with the card. I think that he's going to be a really good player for your starter squad. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have an absolute beast, or I mean, I think that he's going to be an absolute beast in game, but it's none other than Ibrahima Konate. Now with Konate, man, a very popular player throughout FC 24, and I think that is going to be the same for FC 25. I mean, if we do still have the aerial meta, 6'4" with 83 jumping at the start of the game is going to be really OP in my opinion. His defensive stats for the most part look really really good 82 interceptions, 82 defensive awareness, and 85 stand tackle. Now, is he really a ball playing center back? Not really, because his 59 passing and 68 dribbling. But again, man, 81 reactions and 78 composure. I think that the manual defending with the card should still be quite effective. And honestly, boys, the only real letdown for the card is maybe the fact that he does have a bit of a pace split with the card, 69 acceleration and 80 sprint speed. Now, he does have 3-star skill moves and 3-star weak foot, which for a center back is quite good at the start of the game. In terms of play styles, he does have the block, bruiser, and aerial. Now, out of the 3 center backs that we looked at so far, I do think that Konate is probably going to be the most expensive out of the 3, but I also do think that he is going to be incredible in game with his defending and physicality and bigger build. With the block playstyle and the bruiser playstyle, I think that is going to be very difficult to get around him, and overall for the start of the game should be a really solid center back. Moving right along, boys, next up on the list we do have another Manchester City defender, and it's none other than Gvardiol. Now, this is the very first player on the list of defenders that does have a playstyle plus, and he does have the block playstyle plus, and because he does have 4-star weak foot, 3-star skill moves, pretty well rounded from a defensive point of view, he might be a little bit more expensive on the market at the start of the game. But if you do want to go ahead and save some coins at the start of FC 25 to really get top tier defenders, I think that Gvardiol is definitely going to fit in that category. I think that the physical side to his game is going to be really good, but the technical side, if you do want to use him as a fullback, is going to be pretty good as well. Now, in terms of passing, he does have some pretty decent stats, 80 short pass and 76 long pass. And I love the fact that he does also have 2 passing playstyles, the ping pass and the long ball pass. You're going to get the defensive cover with the card, especially with the defensive playstyles that he does have. But because he does have a few passing playstyles, because the technical side to his game isn't half bad, I think that you're also going to get a bit of chance creation as well. Now, as you guys can see with Gvardiol, he can be used as a false back and then also as a ball playing defender. Now, for you guys that might be thinking what a false back is, it is a modern evolution of the fullback. This player pushes up the field, adopting a central position when their team has the ball. So ultimately, man, it's just an inverted fullback. So I mean, Joško Gvardiol, if you want to go ahead and use him in that way, I think that that could be quite interesting. And ultimately, boys, with the way that the card is set up, I do see a lot of people having Joško Gvardiol in their starting 11, especially if he isn't too expensive. Next up on the list, boys, and our final center back in today's video, we do have a player that could potentially be one of the most OP center backs at the start of FC 25. It's none other than Mickey van de Ven. Now, as you guys can see, man, Van de Ven easily one of the quickest center backs in the game. 88 pace at the start of the year is honestly unreal. He does have 81 acceleration and 93 sprint speed, which is a bit of a pace split, but if we go ahead and give him the Shadow Chem style, he is going to have the lengthy acceleration type with 95 pace overall, which is honestly ridiculous for a center back this early on in the game. It's also going to give the card 89 defending and 81 physical, so he's easily going to be one of the most OP center backs. Now, in terms of playstyles, he does have both the block and slide tackle playstyle, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes this year. And in terms of player roles, he can be used as a defender, stopper, and then also as a ball playing defender. So again, the technical side to his game is going to be really important. Now, he does only have 77 short pass and 74 long pass, which isn't great, but he does have really good reactions and composure, so the manual defending with the card should be quite effective. The only real problem in terms of defending is the fact that he does have 49 balance, so I mean, maybe in transition he's not going to be the quickest or like the most agile type of center backs, but with this pace, man, I think that the recovery speed on the card is going to be absolutely incredible. He's going to be very annoying to play against, and ultimately, if you do have the coins, probably the best center backs to go ahead and pick up. Now, because I don't want the video to be too long, we are going to try to go through the list a little bit more quickly. Now, up next, we do have 5 fullbacks. Now, in terms of fullbacks, I think that is going to be really important for your fullback to be very well rounded. We need him to be very good going forward while still providing that defensive cover. Now, kicking off the list with Pedro Porro, as you guys can see, the card is very well rounded. The lowest stat that he does have is 73 for his shooting. He can be used as a wing back and then also as an attacking wing back. So again, man, if we do have that same meta with overlapping fullbacks, I think that Pedro Porro is going to be a really good option. Now, in terms of stats, boys, I think that he is a very well-rounded player. I think that there's going to be a lot of versatility with the card with the way that you want to go ahead and incorporate him in game, but there's also going to be a lot of variety when it comes to chemistry styles. As you guys can see, he can have the controlled, explosive, and mostly explosive acceleration types. Now, in terms of playstyles, I think for the start of FC 25, he does have 3 really effective playstyles for a fullback. He has the whip pass, so if you do like to create a lot of chances with your fullback, you definitely have that. He does also have the rapid, which is definitely going to add to his pace. I think that that is a phenomenal addition for the card. And then he is also going to have the relentless, which is also a really underrated playstyle. And because of that, I think that at the start of FC 25, he is going to be a really good fullback to go ahead and and pick up if you do have the coins. Moving right along, boys, we do have another Spurs defender, and it's none other than Destiny Udogie. Now, with Destiny Udogie, man, I think that at the start of FC 25, he is just going to be such an OP fullback in game. Now, with the way that the card is set up, I do think that the physical side to his game is a lot better than his technical side. So if you are in need maybe of just a fullback that defends, breaks up the play, and advances the ball forward, I think that Udogie is going to be really good for that. Now, he does have 3-star skill moves and 3-star weak foot. He is left-footed, so a lot of people just kind of like assume that you're going to force it onto his left foot. But with the way that the card is set up, man, I think that he's still going to be a phenomenal player in game. Now, with Udogie, you can go ahead and use him as a false back. So just like Vardio, it's kind of like an inverted fullback. And then you can also use him as a wing back. And with the whip pass and quick step playstyles, I think that he's going to be really effective down that left-hand side. Now, out of all the defenders that we did showcase so far, I do think that Udogie is going to be one of the more expensive ones. With this really high pace, decent defending and physicality, if you go ahead and give him the anchor chem style, he is easily going to be one of the most OP fullbacks at the start of the game. And if you do have the coins and you plan on running a Premier League team, I think that Udogie is a phenomenal option. Up next on the list, boys, we do have Diogo Dalot, and Dalot is another fullback that I feel like if you need an overlapping fullback, he is going to be a really solid option. Now, with Dalot, the one thing that I really like with the card is the fact that he does have 4-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot. He's the very first player on the list that is 4-star. And as you guys can see, man, he is another fullback that is very well rounded. If we just brush to the side, the 63 shooting, the lowest stat that he does have is 77 for his passing. The defensive cover that you're going to get with card is something that I think is going to work really well. 85 pace, 79 defending, and 79 physical. Again, man, very similar to Udogie. If you go ahead and give the card the anchor chem style, I think that he's going to be a really underrated option. Now, he is the very first player on the list that does have the technical playstyle, which for a fullback I think is going to work really well. And then he does also have the slide tackle. Now, maybe something other than the slide tackle for a defensive playstyle would have been a lot better. Now, in terms of player roles, man, you can go ahead and use him as a wing back, but you can use him as a wing back on both sides of the pitch. You can also use him as a left back in game if you would like. And because he does have the 4-star weak foot, I think that that could work really well. And if you are on a budget with the way that the card is set up, I think that he's going to be a really underrated option. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, next up on the list, we do have the Chelsea defender. It's none other than Reece James. Now, with Reece James, he does have 4-star weak foot and 3-star skill moves. And again, man, a very well-rounded fullback. Out of all the defenders that we showcased so far, I do think that he's going to be one of the best passers. He does have 83 passing overall, which is going to be phenomenal for the start. The dribbling stats aren't half bad either. 72 agility, 88 balance, really good reactions and composure as well. And then with his 82 defending and 82 physical, he is most definitely going to provide you with that defensive cover. Now, because he doesn't have the greatest of pace, I do think that the Shadow Chem style is probably your best option. With the Shadow Chem style, he is going to have 86 pace and then also 88 defending. And I think that he's going to be an absolute tank in game, especially with the strength and aggression. Now, in terms of playstyles, man, he does have the whip, pass, jockey, and bruiser. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of balance with the card. And because he doesn't have the greatest of pace, I don't see him being too expensive on the market. And if you are on a budget, I think that he's going to be a really good fullback to go ahead and pick up. Moving right along, boys, and the final fullback on the list is none other than the new Brighton man, Ferdi Kadioglu. Now, I do think that Kadioglu is going to be a really popular player at the start of FC 25. I don't see him being very expensive on the market, especially with all the different options that we do have. And honestly, boys, with the way that the card is set up, he looks like a phenomenal option. Now, I love the fact that he does have really high pace and then also really high dribbling. That's going to be really effective on both ends of the pitch. 90 acceleration and 87 sprint speed, easily one of the quickest fullbacks in game. And then he does also have 90 agility and 88 balance. Now, the defensive cover that you're going to get with the card isn't going to be anything too crazy. 75 defending and 76 physical, but he does have really good stamina. So if you do want to use him as an overlapping fullback, that's probably the best way to go ahead and incorporate him. Now, out of all the defenders that we showcased so far, he does have the most playstyles, man. He has the whip, pass, jockey, rapid, first touch, quick step, and relentless. I mean, 6 playstyles for a defender at the start of FC 25 is honestly ridiculous. 4-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot for the card as well. He can be used as a false back and then also as an attacking wing back. And I do think that as an overlapping fullback, that's probably the best way to go ahead and incorporate him because the technical side to his game is really good. And then in certain situations where you do need a little bit of defensive cover with his really high pace and decent defending and physicality, I think that he can most definitely get the job done. Moving right along, boys, we do have our 5 midfielders. And honestly, man, when it comes to like center mid, center defensive mids, I think that is just really important for the card to be really balanced. And again, man, when picking out these different players, I wanted to choose players that would be really good for a starting team. And then also players that wouldn't be too expensive on the market. Now, with Tonali, our first player on the list, I think that he might be a little bit more expensive. especially with the way that the card is set up, man. If you are in need of a central midfielder, I think that he's going to be a really solid option. Now, as you guys can see, Tonali 3-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot. The lowest stat that he does have is 74 for his shooting. So if you do run a formation that does have a center defensive mid, I think that he's most definitely going to thrive in that position. As you guys can see, the physical side to his game is really good with his 84 pace, 82 defending, and 82 physical. But the technical side to his game is really good as well. He does have 74 shooting, 81 passing, and 81 dribbling. And something that I love with the card, as you guys can see, he does have the long ball pass playstyle, and the two player roles that he does have are as a deep lying playmaker. So if you do run the 4-2-3-1 formation, if you use him as like a center defensive mid, I think that the long range passing is going to be really OP. Not only is he going to be really good at breaking up the play and advancing the ball forward, but I think that you're going to be able to create a lot of chances with him. And in the attack, I think that he can maybe bag a few goals as well. The relentless playstyle for a midfielder is going to be really OP because a lot of these players don't have the craziest of stamina, so that little addition is going to go a long way. And if you do want the card to be a little bit more solid defensively with the anchor chem style, 88 pace, 88 defending, and 87 physical, I mean, for the start of FC 25, easily going to be one of the most OP midfielders. Although the card might be a little bit more expensive, I think that if you do have the coins, he's going to be a really solid option for your team. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the newly transferred player for Mikel Merino. Now, Merino is now an 85 rated card, and I feel like he's going to be a very underrated player at the start of FC 25. And the main reason behind that is probably his 3-star weak foot and 3-star skill moves, and the fact that he doesn't have the greatest of pace. But the rest of his stats are really good, man. He has 79 shooting, 82 passing, 82 dribbling, 83 defending, and 82 physical. So the physical side to his game is going to be really important, but the technical side, very similar to Tonali, is going to be very good as well. And because the card is so well rounded, I think that there's going to be a lot of variety when it comes to chem styles that you can go ahead and give him. And in terms of playstyles, he does have some pretty solid playstyles as well. He does have the power shot, so going forward, there is going to be a threat most definitely. The incisive pass for chance creation, I think that that's going to work really well. And then when it comes to the physical side to his game, he does have the aerial and relentless playstyle, so I think that he is going to be an absolute tank in the middle of the pitch. And with Merino, you can go ahead and incorporate him as a box-to-box center mid, and then you can also use him as a playmaker if you do want to use him as a center attacking mid. Now, with the way that the card is set up, I do think that he's probably going to be more suited as a box-to-box midfielder. And because he doesn't have the greatest of pace, man, I don't see him being too expensive at the start of FC 25. If you are on a budget, I think that he's going to be a really solid option for your starting 11. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a player that I think that is going to be an absolute beast at the start of FC 25. It's none other than Joelinton. Now, Joelinton, man, there is a bit of versatility with the card. You can use him at the center mid position, but you can also use him as a left wing. But with the way that the card is set up, I do think that he's going to be most effective as a center mid. Very well rounded. The lowest stat that he does have is 72 for his shooting. But the one thing that I absolutely love with the card, and the standout stat in my opinion, is his 89 physical. If you do prefer your taller, more physical type of midfielders, I think that Joelinton is going to be a fantastic option for you. 90 jumping, 88 stamina, 90 strength, and 89 aggression, man, going to be an absolute tank in the middle of the pitch, especially with the play styles that he does have. He does have the bruiser and intercept, so going to be very good at breaking up the play and advancing the ball forward. The relentless play style with his really high stamina is going to be very good as well. Should be able to last a full 90 easily. And then he does also have the press proven, and as you guys know, I think that the press proven was a really underrated playstyle in FC 24. Because he doesn't have the greatest of agility and balance, I think that that's a really good addition for the card. The left stick dribbling should be better with that playstyle. And in terms of player roles, you can go ahead and use him as a wide playmaker, and you can also use him as a box-to-box midfielder. And because I think that he's not going to be too expensive on the market, I think that he's going to be a very solid player to go ahead and pick up at the start of FC 25. Now, the next player that we do have on the list is Dominik Szoboszlai, and I think that Szoboszlai is going to be a very underrated player at the start of FC 25. And he's one of those players that is most definitely going to have to fit a specific style of play. He's more of like an attacking minded center mid. Now, he's the very first midfielder on the list that isn't very well rounded. I mean, going forward, he looks to be a very solid player, but you're not going to get very much defensive cover with him. So I think that it's best to go ahead and incorporate him as a more attacking minded midfielder, because the technical side to his game does look really good. Now, as a center attacking mid, he does only have one player role, and that is as a half winger. Now, the one thing that I really like with Szoboszlai is the fact that he does have a lot of play styles, and I feel like that's going to be really important at the start of the game. Because the majority of these players don't have the craziest of stats, I do think that it's really important for them to have the most play styles as possible to really just kind of like balance it out. Now, with Szoboszlai, he does have the power shot, dead ball, whip pass, technical flair, and trivela, so a lot of variety going forward. You can incorporate him as a playmaker, but you can also score a lot of goals with him, especially with the power shot playstyle. And again, man, if you are looking for like a more attacking minded midfielder, if you do run a midfield 3, I think that Szoboszlai for the price is going to be a really solid option. And here we are, boys, our final midfielder on the list. We do have none other than Paqueta. Now with Paqueta, man, very similar to Szoboszlai, I think that he's going to be a very solid option for your starting 11, especially if you need a more attacking minded midfielder. The technical side to his game for the start of FC 25 is going to be really good, man. 77 shooting, 79 passing, and 85 dribbling. And although he doesn't have the craziest of agility and bounce, the rest of his dribbling stats are quite decent. 81 reactions, 86 ball control, and 88 composure. So with the 5-star skill moves, man, I do think that he's going to be quite smooth on the ball, and you can always go ahead and give him an engine chem style to help out with that. The passing for the most part is quite solid with his 82 short pass and 78 long pass, and then with his 77 shooting should be able to score a few goals as well. Now a little bonus with the card is the fact that, I mean, 69 defending and 79 physical isn't anything too crazy, but I do think that he's maybe going to be able to provide a little bit of defensive cover, especially with the 77 strength and 78 aggression. He's one of those playmakers that are quite strong on the ball. I think that it's going to be very difficult to get him off of the ball. Now in terms of playstyles, he does have the technical flair, first touch, and trivela, and with his body type, I think that the technical playstyle is going to work really well. The very first player on the list to have 5-star skill moves, so that is most definitely a bonus. And again, man, just a very well-rounded player. If you do end up running a formation with a midfield 3 as that more attacking minded midfielder, I think that he's going to be a really solid option for a really good price. Now next up, boys, we do have our 5 wingers on the list, and we do have Luis Diaz, Martinelli. We do also have Jeremy Doku, Mihailo Mudryk, and then also Raheem Sterling. Now the first player on the list, Luis Diaz, I do think that he's going to be quite expensive at the start of FC 25. He's easily going to be like 20-30,000 coins, and rightly so, man, because I think that he is going to be an absolute beast at the start of the game, man. 4-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, and as you guys can see from an attacking perspective, a very well-rounded player. I mean, the pace and dribbling, man, I think that he is just going to be such a tricky player going forward. 90 pace for the card, and then also 87 dribbling. 80 shooting for the card is incredible. 83 attacking positioning and 80 finishing should be very clinical with the 4-star weak foot. And if you do want to go ahead and incorporate him as a playmaker, the 75 passing is going to be another really important stat. Now with Luis Diaz, he does have 3 player roles. You can use him as an inside forward on both sides of the pitch, so 2 player roles for that. And then you can also use him as a wide playmaker, so if you do want him to create a lot of chances, the engine chem style is a really good option. He does have the technical flair and quick step, and with his pace, man, the technical and quick step playstyle is honestly just going to be so OP. And although he's probably going to be one of the more expensive players on the list, if you do have the coins, man, I think that he's going to be a phenomenal addition to your starter squad. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, we do have Gabriel Martinelli. Now I think that Martinelli is probably going to be a nice cheaper alternative compared to Luis Diaz. So if you don't have the coins at the start of FC 25 to pick up Diaz, I think that Martinelli is going to be another really solid option. Now he does have 3-star weak foot, 4-star skill moves, which for a winger at the start of FC 25 is not going to be too bad. But again, man, a very similar player when it comes to stats. I think that the pace and dribbling is going to be phenomenal. 89 pace and 85 dribbling. The shooting and passing for the most part aren't anything too crazy, but if you do think that his pace is already really good, the Deadeye chemistry style is a really good option. He can only have the mostly explosive acceleration type, and with the Deadeye chemistry style, he is going to have 85 shooting and 81 passing. And if we go ahead and look at this little chart right here, that is going to make him an 86 rated left wing, so that's a really nice upgrade right there. Now he does only have 2 player roles, and it is the same player role. You can use him as an inside forward on both sides of the pitch, but he does have a lot of play styles, and that's something that's really important, man. He has the finesse shot, whip pass, technical flair, quick step, and trivela. And if the finesse shot playstyle is anything close to the finesse shot playstyle in FC 24, man, that is going to be a phenomenal addition for the start of the game. And again, man, I think that he's going to be a player that's going to be very tricky going forward. Not only is he going to be able to bag you a lot of goals, but he's also going to be able to create a lot of chances. And with the way that the card is set up, maybe like 15,000 coins at the start of the game. So if you don't end up having the coins to go ahead and pick up Luis Diaz, I think that Martinelli is going to be a really good cheaper alternative. Up next on the list, boys, we do have our very first attacker that does have a playstyle plus, man. It's none other than Jeremy Doku. Now, if you guys can remember, at the start of FC 24, Jeremy Doku was a very popular player, and I think that we're going to see more of the same in FC 25. Now, as you guys know, pace is just so important at the start of every FC, at the start of every FIFA, and with Jeremy Doku's 92 pace and the rapid playstyle plus, I think that he's going to be one of the quickest attackers in the game. Now, the technical side to his game in terms of shooting and passing does lack just a little bit, but that's nothing that a chemistry style can't fix. Now, with Jeremy Doku, he does have 4-star skill moves and 3-star weak foot. He does have the rapid play playstyle plus, which is honestly going to be so OP at the start of the game. And then he does also have the Flare, Trickster, and Quick Step, man. 92 pace with the rapid playstyle plus and the Quick Step playstyle. I mean, it's just going to be so difficult to defend against them. And then when you go ahead and give him a chemistry style to help out with the shooting and passing, although he might be a little bit more expensive, I think that he is going to be a fantastic option for your starter team. Next up on the list, boys, we do have a player that I actually think is going to be really effective at the start of FC 25. He might not be the most popular of players, but I do think that Mihailo Mudryk is going to be a perfect winger for your starting 11. Now, with Mihailo Mudryk, he does have 4-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot, and I think that he's a very similar player to Jeremy Doku. Now, I don't think that he's on the same level as Doku. Doku, in terms of pace and dribbling, it is a little bit better. But if you are looking for like a cheaper alternative, I do think that Mudryk is going to be a really good option. Now, in terms of playstyles, he does have the power shot, rapid, flare, and quick step. And I think that the rapid and quick step together is going to work really well. He does also have the explosive acceleration type, man. So down that left-hand side, he is going to be absolutely electric. I don't see him being too expensive on the market with his 4-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot with the right chemistry style. I think that he could be a pretty solid option. And then last but not least, boys, and our final winger on the list, we do have the newly transferred card for Raheem the Dream Sterling. Now, out of all the players that did make the list so far, he is the most agile. He has 93 agility and 92 balance. So if you do prefer your smaller, more intricate type of players, I think that he's going to be a really good player to go ahead and pick up. I don't see him being too expensive on the market, maybe like 3,000-4,000 coins, especially with the way that the card is set up and with how many good options we have. You can use him as a wide midfielder, a wide playmaker, and then also an inside forward. So a lot of versatility and a lot of variety going forward. With the finesse shot, rapid, and quick step playstyles, I think that he's going to be very clinical in game. He can most definitely bag you a lot of goals, but he's also going to be very good at creating chances. And at the start of FC 25, I think that it's really important for your attackers to be really tricky. And because there are so many really good options at the start of FC 25, I don't see him being very expensive on the market. So if you are on a budget and you are looking for a very versatile attacker, I think that Raheem Sterling for the price is going to be a really solid option for you. All right, boys, we're getting very close to the end of today's video. Our final 5 players on the list are going to be 5 Premier League strikers. Now, kicking off the list, we do have Trossard, and I think that Trossard is going to be a very underrated player at the start of FC 25. Now, with Trossard, man, as you guys can see, there is a lot of versatility with the card. You can use him at the striker position, but you can also play him out wide. Now, in terms of his stats, as you guys can see, he is a very well-rounded player from an attacking point of view. The physical side to his game does lack a little bit. He does have a pace split, and he doesn't have the greatest of strength and aggression. So I do think that he would probably work best if you go ahead and pair him with like a taller, more physical type of striker. But the technical side to his game is incredible, man. Like I said, 4-star skill moves, 5-star weak foot, 81 shooting, 80 passing, and 85 dribbling. Not only is he going to be able to bag you a lot of goals, but he's also going to be able to create a lot of chances. Now, you can use him as a winger, inside forward, and wide playmaker. So again, man, just so much variety from an attacking perspective. He does have the explosive acceleration type with the rapid playstyle. I think that that's going to work really well. And I do also think that he might be a player that is going to work really well in a lot of evolutions throughout FC 25. If you are on a budget and you are looking for an attacker with a lot of versatility that can play up top, that can also play out wide, I think that Trossard is going to be a really solid option. Moving right along, boys, we do have a striker that is almost so OP at the start of every FC, at the start of every FIFA. Is none other than Darwin Núñez. Now, with Darwin Núñez, he's just one of those players that work really well in game almost every year. And with the way that the card is set up, I think that we're going to see the same in FC 25. I think at the striker position at the start of the game, he's going to be really OP. Not only is the technical side to his game pretty decent, but the physical side is incredible, man. He does have 90 pace and 87 physicality. He should be very strong both on and off the ball, and the power behind his run should be quite effective as well. And when you go ahead and pair that with the technical side to his game, I think that he's going to be a really solid option. But as you guys can see, you can use him as an advanced forward and then also as a poacher. The rapid, quick step, and relentless playstyles for the card. I think that the acceleration boost is just going to be so good, man, especially with the rapid and quick step playstyles. If you do want to go ahead and use him as that poacher or as that advanced forward, I do think that the hunter chemistry style is a really good option. If you want him to just get into really good areas, convert the chance, I mean, 98 pace and 86 shooting with the controlled lengthy acceleration type. You pair that with the rapid, quick step, and relentless playstyles. I mean, at the start of FC 25, going to be a very popular popular player and a very good player to go ahead and pick up. Now, next up on the list, boys, we do have Gabriel Jesus, and very similar to Darwin Núñez, he's just one of those players that are really popular at the start of every new game. And rightly so, man. I think that from an attacking perspective, he is a very tricky player going forward. I love the fact that he does have 4-star skill moves. And looking at his stats in a bit more detail, we can see that the card is pretty well rounded from an attacking perspective. I mean, the physical side to his game, 83 pace, 86 acceleration, and 81 sprint speed for a striker is not half bad. He does also have some pretty good strength and aggression at 72 and 82. And then the technical side to his game is really good, man. 80 shooting, 75 passing, and 88 dribbling. And in terms of playstyles, he does have some pretty decent playstyles. He has the technical flair, first touch, and relentless. And if FC25 is anything like FC24, I do think that the technical and first touch playstyles are going to be really OP with the card. And again, man, if you do prefer your smaller, more intricate type of players, I don't see Gabi Jesus being too expensive at the market at the start of FC25. If he's anywhere around 5 to 10,000 coins, I think that he's going to be a really solid player to go ahead and pick up. And who knows, man, maybe a very good player for some future evolutions as well. Moving right along, boys, we do have one of the highest rated players on the list so far. It's none other than Ollie Watkins. And I feel like Ollie Watkins is a very underrated player. I think that he's going to work really well, especially if you need a striker to just get into really good areas and convert the chance. Now, he does have 4-star weak foot and 3-star skill moves. It would have been really nice to see 4-star, 4-star. Now, in terms of playstyles, he does have the chip shot, rapid, and relentless. I think that it's going to be really important to test out just how effective the chip shot is, because as you guys know, in FC24, the chip shot playstyle was not very effective, but you guys never know. In FC25, it might be a lot better and a lot more effective. But yeah, man, overall, I don't see him being too expensive on the market because he does have the 3-star skill moves. The pace isn't anything too crazy. He does have a bit of a pace split, but I do think that he's going to be a very underrated player. If he's somewhere around 10 to 15,000 coins, maybe even 20,000 coins, I think that he's going to be a really solid player to go ahead and pick up. And as you guys can see, the only player role that he does have is the poacher, so get him into really good areas, have him convert the chance, and he's easily going to be a great addition for any starter squad. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, our final player in today's video is none other than Alexander Isak. Now, I don't know about you guys, man, but I think that Isak is going to be one of the most popular players at the start of FC25. I'm really excited to test him out. As soon as the game drops, I am going to try to do a player review on him because I do think that he's going to be a really OP player. He does have 4-star skill moves and 5-star weak foot, so going forward, there is going to be a lot of variety. The technical side to his game looks incredible, but the physical side to his game looks really good as well. He is 6'4", so if the aerial meta is there in FC25, I think that that's going to be very good. Now, in terms of playstyles, he does have the finesse shot and rapid playstyles, and we all know how OP those two were in FC24. So if FC25 is anything like FC24, that's going to work really well with the card. And then the first touch is a pretty good addition as well. You can use him as an advanced forward, and then you can also use him as a poacher. So the goal scoring ability with the card is honestly going to be insane. Get him into really good areas, have him convert the chance, but because you can also use him as an advanced forward, you can also create a few chances with him. And out of all the players that we do have on the list, I do think that Isak is going to be just such a fun player to go ahead and test out. But if you do have the coins, although he might be a little bit more expensive at the start of FC25, I think that he is going to be a phenomenal addition to anyone's starter squad. But yeah, man, that is my list of some Premier League starter players that you guys should go ahead and pick up at the start of FC25. If you guys did enjoy today's video and you are excited about FC25, definitely let me know by leaving a like. Comment down below what type of players you guys would like to see in future videos. We can do the same kind of video for like a different league. And then also consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for clicking on today's video. I've been your boy Booba, and I'll catch you guys in another one very, very soon. Peace.